Hi, Moguls. Thanks for tuning in. Today, our special guests are Ashley, Maria, and Elizabeth. They are world famous blackjack players and authors of the hit book, The Secret Diary of an All-Girl Blackjack Team. The book reads like a James Bond action film. The girls counted their way to a fortune. They went from making $12 an hour in dead-end jobs to making $12,000 a night playing blackjack. Their whole lives changed dramatically overnight. They started living this glamorous new life when they met a mysterious stranger. Let's welcome our guests, actors, entrepreneurs, authors, Ashley, Maria, and Elizabeth, whose lives mirrored a real life Ocean's 11, except they didn't steal anything. They beat casino banks by counting after learning and mastering techniques from one of the world's best card counters called the Boss. Welcome to the show, girls.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Yeah, so our audience is on the edge of their seats to hear your story about this mysterious stranger you girls call the Boss, who changed your lives forever. You girls were like real live Charlie's Angels, and you were handpicked by the stranger. So, can you tell us about that? How did it feel when he approached you, and what did you think when he told you about this blackjack counting?
Well, this is Ashley here, and we each have completely different stories. He approached us individually based upon where he felt our strengths were and what we could contribute to the team. And so with my particular story, I had absolutely no idea that I was getting involved in a blackjack team or becoming card counters because I didn't even know what card counting was, and I was completely kicked out of a casino.
Yeah,
so that was my introduction was being thrown out.
How did that feel? Like, were you like, just what is going on? Like, it must have been scary.
Well, I was completely blindsided, being naive, so to speak, in some elements, but also I really was pursuing acting, and I was at an actor showcase at the time, and that's where I met the Boss. And he basically approached me and asked if I wanted to go on a location scout. And I also wanted to learn the not only the acting side, but also the back end side on how to produce films and be a part of it. And in that element. And basically, I went on a location scout, and the Boss kept disappearing. And next thing I know, he was disappearing to go count cards. So when he kind of lured me in that way, because it's one of those things where you don't know what you're getting into until you're already in it. And my full story is going to be in our book, The Secret Diary of an All-Girls Blackjack Team. But on the Cliff's Notes version, I went to go play. He said, just place these bets, do what I tell you to do, and trust me, you're going to have a great time. So we tripled our bankroll within 20 minutes. We were surrounded by security, and we were escorted out of the casino. And I literally lost my mind because my whole family's in law enforcement. I thought I was going to be arrested. My heart was pounding. And I'm like, what just happened? What is going on? And he goes, well, let me tell you a little secret. I manipulated the cards. I am a professional card counter. And if you want to be on my team, I just wanted to see how you could handle the stress of what this all could entail. But he goes, I don't need mathematicians. I need actors. And I think you're a fantastic actress. And if you want to play different roles, then we can get you part of this team and basically get you out of your dead end job and into some nice new high heels. So
we all like those Christian Louboutins, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And right now, the pandemic, everyone would probably love your techniques and it can change their life. So this book is so important and amazing story. So so that was
Ashley's,
right? Mm-hmm. So Maria and Elizabeth, how'd you meet the Boss?
So I met him. I was actually working at a luxury store. I'm not going to name it because I don't know if I can at the time. And he walked in and needed assistance. Well, I'm just going to cliff note it too. Essentially, he was a big jerk. I couldn't stand him. I almost lost my job because all I wanted to do was cuss him out because he just was on his phone. He wasn't really engaging in anything. And it was like, I don't know. I couldn't handle it. So by the end, I was so excited to give him his stuff and say, here you go away now. And then he decided to actually look me in the face for the first time and hand me his card and say, you should call me. I have an opportunity for you. And of course, I roll my eyes thinking, you're just some other Hollywood person who wants to play pretend. So I think not. But I took the card, I kept my mouth shut, and then I Googled him and found out he was real. And I was like, oh, you're a real person who can do real things in different facets of life. So I'm going to call you. And I went into meeting him.
with your boyfriend and your big bodyguard trainer friend, it's like, stay right here. I'm going to go in.
Yeah, no, I actually went by myself.
Oh, no. Okay.
I mean, I told my mom where I was going beforehand, although she lives in Alaska, so it probably was a ridiculous idea, but I did it.
So it was okay. It ended up being okay, right?
Yeah, and then I actually dragged Elizabeth to a meeting with him. I was like, you have to meet him. You have to be a part of this. And so then she met him at a dinner with me.
So you recruited your friend. So that's Maria. Maria recruiting Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, what did you think when Maria was saying, "Oh, come and check out this"? What did you think when you met him?
Well, I thought the whole thing was really weird to begin with because obviously we were all living in Hollywood at the time, and I was obviously anytime moving to LA, Hollywood, your parents are like, don't go here, don't go there, don't go anywhere with strangers. There's weird people everywhere. So when Maria recruited me and she asked me to come to this meeting with somebody that she met, there was this opportunity. She wanted me to know more about it. I was like, this is weird. Like, we shouldn't go. I was actually really freaked out to go. But we decided to meet at a restaurant. And I was like, okay, safe space. We're in public. If anything happens, we're good. Exit door is right there. We can get up out of here. So we went and we met him, and he had his security with him. And it was kind of like a big scene where I was like, who is this person? Like, he was just like so majestic in a way. And that obviously kind of draws you in, whether you really want to or not. So I went, I had dinner with them. They kind of explained everything to me. And then within like the next week or so, I was asked to come to an office. And the office was in this really luxury building in Hollywood. And that's where they kind of just unfolded everything to me then. And at that moment, I was hooked. And it just kept going on from there.
Oh my gosh. So so I was reading your book. Are we allowed to say about like the when you went to the location, it was had roulette tables and the wheel. And can you tell us about that when you first walked in? It kind of seems like it could have been like like a Stanley Kubrick film. You walk in and there's a roulette wheel and a giant sized baccarat table, and is this a seduction or is this legitimate business training? And with the presents on the table, I really love that entry. Just reads like a beautiful movie. Eyes wide shut. Hopefully it didn't end that way though. But everyone has to read the book to find out, right?
That's right.
But in the box, what did you girls think that were in those beautifully gift wrapped boxes? Did you think what did you think that was possibly in there? We won't tell the audience what was in there, but
I was hoping it was shoes, to be honest.
Shoes. So that's our shoe lover. Yeah. Did anyone else?
Handbags for me. Any luxurious handbag is what I was hoping it was.
Yes, yeah. So
honestly, I had no idea, other than the fact that I knew the boss had a gift for elegance and extravagance. So I knew it was going to be something good, or at least it would lead to something exciting, if not that.
Yeah. So we'll leave that chapter for them to read to see how it turns out. But basically, then you started. Then you went into like a training or a class, right, where you had to learn to count. Is that the first step?
So this is Ashley here. So for me, so I was recruited through the acting. I had no idea how to play blackjack at all. My only experience of going to Vegas was to go celebrate birthday parties and go clubbing and, go hang out at the pools and have a great time. So to start from scratch actually made it easier because I didn't have any bad habits. And before I actually learned how to count cards, I had to learn perfect basic strategy. So basically become a professional blackjack player. And for me, before I actually became a card counter, I just took signals. So the boss became the big player, which means that he'll go in and make the large bets. And he would come in and I would, let me back up. The boss would, we had two different strategies. One is a big player and one's a team play. So my first experience was to become a team player. Let me back up, was to become a team player so that I would take signals on what to do how do I explain it? I would take signals on what to do and disguise the fact that we were going up and down in the count because the betting was spread across the table. So I would use my acting skills to distract from what we were really doing. And then later on, I learned how to be a card counter so that I could be a sole card counter, and then the boss could come in and be a big player. And then later on, we transferred those roles throughout the team. Did any of that make sense?
Yes, it sounds exciting. Did it take a while for you to learn card counting? Because you went from one deck to like 6 decks. It was amazing. Like your mathematical skills are insanely like off the charts.
So it's actually easier. It's actually easier to hide in a 6-deck shoe, which is 6 decks, because you go up and down in the count and it's less noticeable. But it was actually, I got paid. I basically left my waitressing job, got paid to be part of the team, to then put all my focus on counting cards and learning how to play blackjack. So I got paid to do that, which ultimately became my job in the end.
That's amazing. Were you just like so happy because you girls were like staying at these amazing, beautiful hotels, getting like massages and pampering and sightseeing and not having to sling drinks and bus tables for just a few bucks at the end of the shift, but making beautiful amounts of money and just having a happier, lovelier life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, what are some of your favorite casinos, and what was the biggest mistake that you made at that game that you played?
I'm going to take this one. This is Maria. So my favorite casino is Planet Hollywood, mostly for the music and the fact that I can kind of like dance as I'm walking to each table, and I enjoy that. But biggest mistake I made was telling people at the table when I first started, especially when I first started card counting, because I had to keep all these numbers in my head, and I'm dyslexic. So for me, it was very difficult to learn, but it was a challenge. So I was like, I have to learn this. Like, this is awesome. And it actually helped my math skills because I'm horrible at math. I suck at math, but I've become better by learning card counting. But the biggest mistake was telling people I was from Alaska. Telling someone I was born and raised in Alaska, ended up with all of these questions after question. It was like an inquisition. I'm like, really? Like, I'm busy, but I can't say that. So I had to be nice.
You live in an igloo. I say a polar bear.
That was my big mistake.
You're like, wait, I'm counting cards. Can you back up?
Exactly.
What Elizabeth, you got to say some of your fun stories too, because you got some good ones.
It's actually funny because same casino as Maria, Planet Hollywood. I made the mistake of flirting too much with one of the pit bosses. And so
he was cute, right?
Me and him became pretty friendly, and it was good because I was able to kind of, use him as my cover up and talk to him. And so he was less distracted on what we were actually doing, and he was kind of just more focused on me, which was great. But he kind of got a little too involved, a little too focused on me, to the point where he would follow us out of the casino. He would want to meet up for dinner. He would want to meet up for lunch. So it kind of just became a little overwhelming with him. But I was able to use him as a cover while we were there. So I could kind of cover for the girls while they were working. And I was just, doing my thing, flirting the whole time. But it just got a little carried away. So every time I go back there now, he wants to see me. He wants to go out. He wants to drink. He wants to have a good time. And for me, it was really just work. And it kind of got a little carried away, but it was all the fun nevertheless.
Oh,
he still to this day asks about you.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
And one of my favorites, actually, one of my favorite casinos is the Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. I just loved it. It was just a completely different field than Vegas. But I learned rather quickly, and this wasn't at the Taj Mahal, but I learned rather quickly the importance of disguise, because we were just getting into utilizing wigs and having different roles that we'd play. And one of those, which ties in with Elizabeth having to keep up her role with flirting with the pit boss, because they remember you. So you have this identity at one, and you have to remember what role you played when you went there. Because I went one time with my hair one way, and I went to the same casino another time with a wig, which wasn't the best wig. It wasn't as realistic as I thought it was. So one of the pit bosses, a female pit boss, recognized me, and she goes, "Oh, did you cut your hair?" And I tried playing along with it, but realized halfway through the conversation that she could tell that it was a wig and not my real hair. And at the same time, I think she was on to me in regards to counting, because I was still relatively new. And I had to throw the count to Maria so that she could keep going. And therefore, I could focus on my conversation, because she would not let up. She wanted my attention 100%, and there was no way that I could not give it to her. Otherwise, I knew we would be in trouble. So I had to find a way to keep the game going, so we didn't let the boss down by screwing up. But at the same time, know where my limitations were with, what's at stake at the moment.
Oh, that's amazing. So did you ever get caught? Like, did someone say, "Oh, you're a card counter"? Did you ever get caught, or you were pretty good at covering your tracks?
I personally, this is Ashley again. Being thrown out the first time, they never banned me. I never was read the rights of trespassing laws where you can't ever go back. So they never officially banned me. But I have had it where security would take pictures of me, and I remember like hiding behind a tree in Tahoe, trying to hide from the security guards. And I remember we had a van that was like waiting around the corner, and we're like, "Go, go, go, come pick us up, go!"
Oh my God.
So I felt like I was like a scene out of a movie, but that was really happening. And it was funny, because then you're afraid to go back. So we would wait different times, and Maria basically planned out this whole schematics for us on when we should go back to what casino and how long we should take before we rotate to the next one, so people could sort of forget us a little bit, and try to brush things under the rug.
Oh, that's
yeah, and we would keep track of their shifts, so we would know when they changed shifts, we'd know when they changed decks, so we had to track all of that, so we knew how we could move in and out the casino at any time.
Oh, that's amazing. And so that was your scariest moments playing blackjack, or do you have a scarier moment than running away from the person that is trying to get you? Like, do you have a car waiting for you to go into outside?
We did, and I think part of it was scary because we have a lot of money on us, and people would rob casino players. So we had to have security to protect us from not only if we got in trouble with the security in the casinos, but security to protect us from people wanting to rob you in the elevator or as you're going into your room, or
with big wads of cash. Yes, like, what was your biggest take home? Was it 12,000 or what? Can you reveal?
We don't ever reveal exactly what we've made. We do our taxes. So there's that, but we basically, all of us have been able to provide for ourselves, invest in our own little companies if that's what we saw fit to do, and we all bought Mercedes-Benz and different variations, of course. One's a car, two are SUVs, things like that.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, living the American dream, or living the blackjack winner dream. So yeah. So let's see. This is a really funny question. I was just have any of you dated another player or a card counter?
You want to take that?
Well,
I've tried. This is Elizabeth. I've tried to have a boyfriend on the team before, but it just really doesn't work, to be honest with you. Like, there's so much focus and so much attention that you have to give to it, and it kind of just gets distracting. Like, if one of us slacks off or if one of us is not paying attention, it just, to me personally, it doesn't work. We've had other people on the team in the past who have, been couples or linked up, and unfortunately it doesn't work because the work and the job becomes more serious. Just having to get through the night, get through everything that you have to do in order for preparation and focus. And so it was fun to try it, but yeah, it didn't work out. That was negative.
Yeah.
So this is, go ahead, Maria.
Yeah, because I was going to say,
okay. So this is Ashley. So as Elizabeth was saying, we've had couples on the team before, and if they're having relationship issues, it was hard for them to separate business from pleasure when they were at the tables, because then they would bring in their emotional riff at the table, and you have to be all about business at that point. And then we've also had couples on this team where they ended up stealing from us. So then that was a horrible experience. But for myself, I ended up with our private security guard. I guess that's what you want to call him. He's a Special Forces Green Beret, and he's a really awesome person. And we had to keep that a secret at some point because it was a no-no. But ultimately, we ended up getting married and have a baby. And
oh my gosh!
happily ever after.
Oh wow! Yeah, was it hard to keep your lives private from your family and friends?
Absolutely.
Yep,
please do.
Maria. I'm going to go first just because it was very easy for me, since my family, most of them all live in Northern California, and then my parents actually live separately in Anchorage, Alaska. So for me, all my stuff is on phone calls. So, and my best friends were Elizabeth and Ashley at the time, so, and still are. So for me, I didn't have to hide it from anybody. Like, it was like our little secret as a group, and I didn't really have to tell my family anything if I didn't feel like it.
Oh, well,
that's
really...
who had their own issues.
Oh, that's beautiful. So yeah. So how has the pandemic affected your ability to play in casinos and your book tour? So what's next? What's next for you girls?
Well, I'll take this. This is Ashley. So I ended up having my baby right during the pandemic. So I've been on hold for a bit. So I'm a new mom. And so with the pandemic, it really, obviously everything was shut down. So it was actually a perfect time for me to take a bit of a break so that I could be a stay-at-home mom and just focus on family. So even though it does affect the casinos with the pandemic and the team, it's one of those things where it's fun while you're in it, but it, just like anything else, it gets tiring, and you want to be able to relax and take a break and just kind of live life and be in the moment that you're in versus always being on the go. So for me, it's actually been nice.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, girls, I just want to say your book is amazing. And Moguls, if you want to check out their book, it's called The Secret Diary of an All-Girl Blackjack Team. And it's packed with insider tips. And it even has their proven methods and strategies to achieve financial freedom. And they write it with easy understanding language. You can buy their book at Amazon. And also you can join their society called the Blackjack Society, which is the blackjacksociety.com. And if you buy the book, they have an email where you can email the girls. So thanks for coming on the show today, girls.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, happy holidays. And thanks for listening to the show.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.